All right, thanks for tuning back to Beauty Naturals. Today's video is about candle making. So as a soap maker, I only use essential oils for my brand because I don't want to use synthetic ingredients. And so I know a lot of people like candles, and if I want to have a spa vibe, I know that candles is a big part about feeling comfortable and being comfy and cozy. So I thought I would try making candles, but I needed to experiment if essential oils was gonna work or not. So if you're interested, continue to watch. Alright, first off, make your guide on what scents you want to use and have basically a whole instruction guide. And I have that to refer to when I'm making this. Here are all the things that you're going to need. You're going to need a hot glue gun. I have these little cute glass containers from eating yogurt, and then a pan, and you're going to need a scale and some wax and some alcohol. I did some math on however big the containers were to see how much wax I needed to melt, so I weighed that out, and then I put it on the stove to melt it down. While I was waiting for the wax to melt down, I'm cleaning out each container with alcohol. And then next I get my hot glue gun and I get the wick, and I obviously put a little drop of hot glue on the bottom of it, and then I stick it to the container of your choice, and here obviously glass for me, and then I just push it down so it can stick. Okay, so here I have a candle thermometer, and you have to melt down the wax to 185 degrees Fahrenheit. And so I'm letting it get to that point. And then once it cools down to about 115 or 125, that's when you can add your essential oils. And at that point, you want to add the essential oils and stir it for at least 3 minutes straight to incorporate the oils into the wax. So you can have a nice, clean, well-scented burn throughout the whole entire candle's use. Alright, so now that everything's kind of cooled down and hardened, I'm getting ready to cut the wicks down a little bit. So I'm just cutting them down so they are at the length that I want them to be at. And then it takes about a week to cure so that the scent is well established into the wax. And so I'm just labeling my candles so I know which one's which, so I can kind of grade them and rate them. And then I wait a week until I'm ready to burn the candle. But when you're making the candle, what I did wrong was, since I was doing a tester, I put the essential oils into each glass container and mixed it in there, which essentially made all the other ones cool down as I was starting on the first one, and I would mix it in there for like 3 minutes straight, but I wasn't doing a very good job of mixing, and then it was cooling the other ones down, and it has to be at a certain temperature when you're mixing it. So I noticed when my candles did eventually get lit and burned, that I could tell that the first couple of, I don't know, like the first fourth of the candle, there was no scent, and then all of a sudden it would get towards the bottom and it would be super strong. So that was interesting. And then also how scents work in candles, because like when you mix soaps, obviously sometimes the smells or certain essential oils don't transfer over in the final product. So it's interesting to see what lasts and what doesn't last in a candle. Slightly different, I would say a lot stronger, and it was interesting to see which scents are a stronger base for candles versus with soaps. So out of all the candles that I made, there was only 2 that worked really well, and they were the Fall Breeze and the Full Moon. And I want to say it was because cinnamon tone, like the base, was really strong, so that definitely lasted. And also maybe like the clove of the Full Moon made things last. So it's really interesting to see what works and what doesn't work, but it lets me know what I would do if I eventually do want to make candles in my soap making. So I'll probably continue on to learn more about it, But if you don't want to do synthetic oils at all with your your candle making, and you want to use the same essential oils that you use for soap making, is definitely doable. A lot of the lighter scents like oranges and stuff like that didn't do very well for the candle making, kind of the same as with soap making, but a little bit stronger. So I feel like there's a lot of like trial and error, just as with soap making, that you have to do when you're making candles, but it's definitely doable. I also want to add, instead of buying the little wick holder things, I literally just used skewers from barbecuing and broke those in half and made like basically a chopstick hold to keep the wick straight. So don't worry about it. There are definitely ways to go around it without having to get a wick holder. But yeah, so that's the candle making journey, being a soap maker, and I think I'll continue on and keep experimenting. So let me know in the comments below if you have made candles with essential oils and how it works for you. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and stay tuned for the next one.